I'm at a loss here. There is a deduction available to you, not for the amount you were giving, but if you want to give, for instance, $1,000 to the Salvation Army, you still have the option of deducting that, do you not?
Only if I itemize.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's always been that way.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
But I cannot
Doesn't change.
itemize, I come out much more ahead if I do not itemize and take the doubled standard deduction of $12,000.
And
Okay.
that does benefit probably, what do they say, 90 to 95% of Missourians.
Well, then why did the representative say everyone? Why didn't she say everyone except John Wilk will be getting the tax?
You're too rich.
That's
your problem,
I
you're
paid
too
you
rich.
too much
We
time.
knew your name then.
That's average Joe's.
You'll find me at the carnival in John Wilk's booth, just remember. I'll be
Oh, he
quiet.
was a bad guy.
Okay. No, that's okay. So you're saying you have to take the $3,000 penalty if you use the standard deduction,
I
or if you
lose
itemize.
$3,000 tax deduction if I take the itemized route. If I take the standard deduction, I think I'm $270 in the hole. And it isn't really the money. To me, money is just numbers on paper. It's the idea, though, that my tax increase is going to millionaires and billionaires
Yeah.
because of the loopholes that Congress, including Representative Hartzler, were so championed to keep the benefits
I
in
think
place.
I understand, we've got this down here, and I mean, that was part of the law, and again, we're looking, what the Congresswoman was looking for was to benefit as many people. And you are blessed, if you can afford to give $30,000 a year to charity, not too many people, I'm sure, in this community
I'm not
can.
blessed, my friend. I just
But-
don't need the money as much as other people do.
Fair enough, but she is looking at helping other people who are having a difficult time.
Great,
and-
reinstate the ability to me to make the donations and not be penalized, and I'll be the first in line to again become generous. Folks, I'll even become more generous.
Okay, fair enough. You say you don't want to, you're not going to give any money at all, even though you would be allowed to deduct. You decided
I'm
you're not going
torn.
to give any money.
I'm torn.
That's your choice.
But on the other hand,
As a
I am
parent.
not gonna pay a penalty just to enrich in the, to sustain the carried interest deduction for
What-
hedge
what
fund
does-
managers.
But there is no penalty in
We're
the
still
tax.
hung up on what penalty you're talking about.
The
Yeah.
penalty is the difference between taking the standard deduction and not itemizing. or
But everyone's faced that doing taxes for generations, that we decide whether it's best in our best interest to itemize or to take the standard deduction. That's not something new that just happened this year, that's been around for generations.
I agree, except what has changed is the law has changed the metric. It has now created, in my situation, the penalty. It has created the disincentive. I tried to communicate this prior to the representatives' vote on it, but I would concur, probably as a whole, most people are not in my situation. They have heirs, they have purposes for their money. And as I indicated to me, I have in the past had higher intentions and purpose for the money than just spending it on the eloquent clothes that I wear.
Fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move on then. Next question. No, you don't have? No?
You all,
Who's
you're
next?
first,
Is it?
this side of the table should go.
Yes, we're, okay,
Yeah,
this
sure.
side of the table, sure.
Hi, so I actually was just invited to this meeting from a friend in the room, and so this is my first time ever coming to a meeting. And I,
Welcome.
thank you.
Glad to have you.
I suppose since we've heard some narratives at the table, my question can maybe best be served by starting with a short narrative of my own. And so I've already mentioned in this room that I am Mexican heritage and background. My parents immigrated to this country in order for their daughters to have an excellent education, and they believed wholeheartedly in that and the promise of equality and education for everyone who is here. My parents were always law-abiding, whether you believe it or not, and we're always here with permits and permission. They actually met in line at the immigration office, waiting to get their permissions to come and work here in the United States, legally and honorably. That's actually where they met. Imagine meeting your love of your life there and starting out a life and carving it out here in the United States together. They moved to Wisconsin because they believed living farther north was a great place to ensure that their daughters would have an education, a higher education more specifically, which Janet Reno, when she was alive, let me personally know is the greatest civil rights issue facing Latino Hispanic people in this country. And said, you should really get your PhD, Simona. I had the privilege of an American education. My parents had a 3rd and 6th grade education, my mother and father respectively. I had the privilege of being valedictorian of my high school, which I worked very hard for.